back to Morning Drive on a Wednesday. Hope your day is off to a great start. I'm Damon Hack. Let me get you caught up on what happened yesterday. We've been talking about our morning, our own Brandel Chamblee, with some very interesting comments during an NBC Florida Swing news conference call about Rory McIlroy and his future as it pertains to weightlifting. This is what he had to say. The only thing that gives me concern with regard to Rory going forward, I say it with a lot of trepidation because it's a different era for sure. And I don't know the full extent of what he's doing. But when I see the things he's doing in the gym, I think of what happened to Tiger Woods. And I think more than anything, as much as what Tiger did early in his career with his game was just an example of how good a human being can be. What he did towards the middle and end of his career is an example to be wary of. That's just my opinion, and it gives me a little concern when I see the extensive weightlifting that Rory is doing in the gym. Brandel finishes by saying, but thus far, there's been no signs that it's adversely affected his game. Now, after Brandel's comments, Rory McIlroy, as he is wont to do, went on Twitter posting a video of him with a squat wax. This is what Rory likes to do. In fact, he's the first golfer ever to be on the cover of Men's Health magazine. Very, very proud, I would say, of the work he has done in the gym. He has transformed his body from when he first turned professional to where he is right now, one of the best players in the game. Then he tweeted this regarding the squats. It was the last set, 265 pounds. Did 3 sets at 225 pounds before that. I'm 165 pounds. I'm a golfer, not a bodybuilder. So Rory clearly, paying attention to what Brandel said and responded. In fact, he linked Brandel and Golf Channel in his responding tweets that showed the video. Now, Gary Player, also the World Golf Hall of Famer, had some comments to make as well, where he said, listen, they said the same thing about me. I wouldn't last before age 30. Brandel Chamblee joins us today, and we see he's getting some weight work in right now. Look at that, Brandel.
You'd be surprised what great workouts you can get with just common household items. These are just a couple of hairspray cans. I have no idea where they came from. By the way, that was actually my 4th set of 2. That last one, I could feel the burn. And if you were watching Rory yesterday as he completed that rip, you could tell there was a little burn there. And that burn's important because I've actually been told that's where you build the muscle. If you watch that, you can see there's a little sting there. There's a little burn there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I should take a page out of Rory's book, and maybe I should have squatted Volkswagens, because this week they're playing the LA Open. Well, it really wasn't that long ago when I was playing in the LA Open. As a matter of fact, this is my shot to the final green on the final day, and yes, that is a 3-wood. In fairness to me, that was a gutta-percha golf ball, but nonetheless, that was a 3-wood. Eventually, I lost in a playoff. Yeah, look at that great putt with that gutta-percha. They weren't that round, by the way. But maybe, just maybe, I would have had a shorter club in there. And in fairness to Rory, I thought it was a funny tweet. It really was. I thought it was a clever response.
It was. It was. And as much hairspray as you use, those cans are empty. Full cans.
They're full. I have no idea. Apparently they're yours and Rose's.
Touche. Well done. Have a seat. Welcome, Brandel. How are you, buddy?
Hey, great.
Good to see you. You comfortable?
Always good to be here. Yes.
What happened yesterday? What happened? Take us back.
Well, look, we all watched Tiger Woods, and Chris was playing in 1996. I was playing in 1996, and if you remember, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer said after playing a practice round with Tiger Woods at the 1996 Masters that he would go on to win more than both of them. They won 10 collectively, so they were predicting 11. The reason why is in 1996, Tiger Woods averaged 342 yards in the Masters. The next closest competitor was Phil Mickelson, who averaged 306. So you're talking about 36 yards between him and the next person. In 1997, when Tiger Woods won by 12, he averaged 323 yards off the tee. The next closest competitor averaged 300 yards off the tee. Fast forward 5 years, he had a completely different body. He had changed sinew for bulk. And he was certainly strong, but he was nowhere near as fast. When he won in 2002, he averaged 293 yards off the tee, and that was with supposedly a hotter golf ball. Now, was his body better equipped to do what he needed it to do? Not in my opinion. And as he progressed through his career, did his body hold up for what it needed to do? Not in my opinion. And when I see what Rory's doing and how great he is and how important he is to golf, listen, I'm 53 years old. I'm supposed to talk to the younger generation and say, I'm just a little wary.
What do you say when he says, I lift weights to protect my back? When I first turned professional, I had back problems. I'm using weightlifting to inure me from injury going forward.
I think in golf you need speed, first of all, and you need flexibility. and some degree of strength. But Jack Nicklaus famously used to pass jars to Barbara in his house because he said he wasn't strong enough to open them. Wow. He obviously was gifted with great physical attributes and strength, but he didn't go to the gym to strengthen his hand. And to Gary Player's tweet, and listen, I'm a huge Gary Player fan. He won major championships over 19 years.
Right.
His body did not change in some great metamorphic way over his career. Yes, he was working out in the 60s, and he alluded to the fact that he needed to make up for his lack of distance against Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, and he did that. But his body did not drastically change. When you start to look at athletes whose bodies drastically change, I look at a few players, and there's been concern. Again, there was Sam Snead, who won at 52 years of age. He did workouts much like yoga, and it helped him. But if you look at other athletes who I think have struggled, and we'll draw an analogy to another sport. Let's take tennis, for example. Roger Federer is 34 years of age. In his last 3 majors, he's made it to the finals, and he lost in the semifinals. Juxtapose that with Rafa Nadal. Rafa Nadal is 29 years of age. In his last 3 major championships, who is much more physically imposing than Roger Federer has ever been. Roger Federer looks more feline, and Nadal looks more like a gym rat, so to speak. At 29 years of age, in his last 3 majors, he's lost in the second round, he's lost in the third round, and he just lost in the first round of the Australian Open, and a lot of people are saying he's done. He'll never win another major championship. So the workouts cause me some concern.
I agree with you. There was a player in our era that changed his body style. Remember Keith Clearwater? Keith Clearwater went from...
I have a funny story about that.
I mean, he went and he got big and he lost all of his flexibility, and he actually stopped being able to hit the ball like he used to hit it.
Keith and I were good friends. We were having breakfast in San Diego, and he and I were talking, and I said to him, somebody's going to come along in this game and treat it like a sport, and they're going to change their body, and they're going to get huge, and they're going to change golf. And he looked at me, and he was built like me at the time. We played a lot of golf together. Right. He was 160 pounds. And he looked at me, and a light went on in his eye. And he goes, that's going to be me. And he did.
Yeah.
A year later, he owned Gold's Gyms, and his body drastically changed, and Keith's still a friend of mine. Yep. He had a beautiful golf swing, but he was never the player he was before. And at some point, you can have David Duvall on here, and David is a great friend of mine, and David would have answers to these questions that would be different from mine. But the circumstances and the closeness of his drastic body change from when he was number 1 to when he sustained injuries is compelling to me. Now, we can have David on, and we'll talk to David perhaps next Thursday about whether or not they were connected. But in my mind, I saw a metamorphic change, a huge change, and he began to have physical problems. Look at Sam Snead, look at Jack Nicklaus, look at Gary Player, look at the players that have endured in the game, and for the most part, their body did not change drastically.
And I'm assuming this is the era you're referring to in what you're referring to. And I would say, let's take it outside just golf. In baseball right now, there's a serious concern as why are pitchers having Tommy John surgery with such frequency? Is because perhaps they've gotten so strong the ligaments can't sustain. So I think to some extent, when you are weightlifting or building muscle, you have to take into account that your frame has to be able to handle the amount of power that you're putting on it.
And I'll just say this, and that's a great point, Paige. The motion has changed in golf. And in my opinion, because they've restricted the amount of space that they have to build speed, they have to have strength. If you resist with your lower body and subsequently with your upper body, then you're asking a car to accelerate over, say, to get to top speed instead of 50 yards in 10 yards, or a human being. So you have to trade speed for strength. So if you're going to swing like players are being taught today, you need to go to the gym. You absolutely need to go to the gym. Or you can skip the gym, go drink some red wine, and live like Bubba Watson. And lift your lead heel and turn and get your hands high. And Bubba Watson looks more like Roger Federer to me. And he's, by the way, deep into his 30s and statistically the best driver in golf of the last 5 years, and hits it further than almost everybody out there. And no offense, I love Bubba, but his biceps are about that big around. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't look like he's spending a lot of time in the gym.
It's an interesting era right now because the golf courses are asking big questions of the pros and the amateurs. They're longer, the rough is deep. We're seeing 7,800-yard golf courses, tipping out nearly an 8,000-yard golf courses. Power is appreciated. Golfers are on the cover of Men's Health and Men's Fitness magazine. Golfers are athletes now. We're in a different era than we were in the 1950s. We're asking our golfers to be athletes.
A lot of white pants.
And ask any athlete in any sport. Careers are getting shorter, and injuries are getting more common. And our sport is just following suit.
Yeah.
So right, Paige, and I think, at what they're doing, maybe they need to do what they're doing to be relevant right now because everybody's doing it, but at the back end of the career, I think there's going to be payback. So to me, longevity is the greatest test of anything. So when I look at any player, I look at who endured, who won over the longest period of time, what did their body look like, what did their golf swing look like. I learned from that. It's compelling to me. It's convincing to me. That's all I'm saying to Rory. Rory, great tweet, loved it, funny. Keep doing what you're doing. You will probably prove me wrong. I'm just saying. And I clearly said, it's my opinion.